Hey, gang, I think it's the most exciting weekend in pro football. I've been saying it all week. It's Wildcard weekend. Thank you, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. Yes, I will have skin in the game. You should have skin in the game Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So Saturday at 4:30, Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite hosting Houston. Detroit, 3-point favorite hosting LA. That's Sunday night. And then Philadelphia, 3-point road favorite at Tampa Bay. I'm going with the Birds again. They've done me wrong recently, but I'm feeling pretty good about this weekend now. 3,200 state-of-the-art slots. That's what you'll find at Parks Casino at home base in Pennsylvania. 115 live table games, the best sports book on the East Coast. Great food, great drink, great entertainment, including at the Excite Center, 1,500 seats, and all the headliners. Go have some fun at Parks Casino this holiday weekend. Visit parkscasino.com, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. This is how you win. You got to be 21. Gambling problem? Just call 1-800-GAMBLER. Headlines from the Friday edition of the newsletter. Porch pirates are a problem. How was that for alliteration? And we've all seen, I'm a sucker for those doorbell videos that capture the culprits in the act. I remember there's a guy named Mark Rober. We wanted to get him on CNN and could never make it work. I'm not sure why. But he's the guy who would craft these packages filled with glitter and Farkle aroma. I don't know quite how to say it, but a spray. And so if you took something from his stoop and you got into your car and you opened it up, you'd be overwhelmed by the scent as well as the glitter. I love guys like that. And I think we've all been, victimized to some extent by the Porch Pirates. So why do I bring it up? Because there's a story in the newsletter today. Headline, Montreal police warn against defamation for posting videos of porch thieves online. As an attorney, I don't get it. I'll explain. In an unexpected twist to Montreal West's ongoing porch pirates saga, local police have warned against posting videos of thieves online, citing defamation concerns. Quote, you cannot post the images yourself because you have to remember, in Canada, we have a presumption of innocence, and posting that picture would be a violation of private life, said their head of communications. Defamation by legal definition involves damaging somebody's good reputation through slander or libel. Look, the textbook definition of defamation is that you're putting out false information, that it's false and defamatory, meaning it subjects someone to ridicule and scorn and lessens their reputation. I disagree with this. As one who has practiced in the area of defamation, I don't think there's an issue. If you have a camera, somebody is on your porch, which is, by the way, in a public setting, albeit maybe on private property, but it's not as if they're behind closed doors, and they take a package, I think posting that video is defensible. What you need to be careful of are the comments. I think it's the comments that are problematic, including if you're one of the people who is saying something defamatory in such a comment. Addressing the defamation concern, one of the posters to this story said, defamation involves making false statements that harm somebody's reputation. That's true. Posting a video of someone stealing a package is not defamation. I agree with that. 28% of Canadians have had a package stolen. Wow, 28%. Overall, 70% of online shoppers are at least somewhat worried about package theft. TC, your thoughts on the porch pirates and Montreal police saying, don't go defaming them?
Okay, so I am not a lawyer, but I completely agree with you. I cannot understand how if you have a picture of someone taking something off of your porch, that can't be posted without fear of retribution or sort of legal thing. So I 100% agree with you. That's the whole point of these cameras. They're supposed to be a deterrent. So if posting on social media would be a deterrent, then we should be able to do that. Curiously, I've had a story about this. This was a couple years ago. I ordered canvas wrapped pictures, big pictures of Emma, and it was around Christmas time to hang up in the basement. And so I was waiting for the delivery, and someone pulled up in my driveway and said, "Oh, I found these on the side of the road heading towards the Blue Route."
What?
I saw it was a box, and I stopped, and I thought like maybe it should, maybe it's something like that someone wants for Christmas. But I think I think he took them and then felt bad when he opened them and recognized that they were both.
They didn't want Emma's portrait?
Right. And they didn't want it. And so he returned it. I thought that was the weirdest thing. But I had gotten, but I got notification that they had been delivered. Sorry,
right.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
So I knew that they had been delivered and then they had been returned.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
The remorseful Porch pirate. I love the story.
When does that ever happen?
Never. Go read it. Poll results yesterday, 22,820 votes. Do you agree with Chris Christie that Nikki Haley is going to get smoked? Hey, Ari Fleischer said something that I was thinking, and I'm regretting not having said it, but I'm giving him a tip of the hat because he was the one to express cynicism before yours truly. He wondered if the whole hot mic Chris Christie moment was deliberate. Did Christie actually know he was on a hot mic and deliberately say that she's going to get smoked, she's not up to it, and that Ron DeSantis had called him, quote unquote, petrified? Interesting thought, isn't it? On the question of do you agree with Chris Christie that Nikki Haley is going to get smoked, 22,820 votes cast. I love the result. Not because of which side edged out the other, but because it was 50.57% to 49.43%. So we have a real sharp divide as to whether we agree with Chris Christie. Today in the newsletter, by the way, yours truly made a mistake. I think in the headline said Iowa. It's not. It's New Hampshire. Iowa, of course, is Monday. I'll say something about that in a moment. A new Emerson College poll in New Hampshire shows Nikki Haley in second position. I'm not surprised at all by that. The question is, what happens on Monday? Donald Trump is in a commanding position. Will DeSantis, if he doesn't have a strong showing in Iowa, will he drop out? I don't know. We'll see. Monday is the Iowa caucus at long last. How long have we talked about 2024 and what happens in the Iowa caucus? Well, it's all Monday, and we will know Monday night if, in fact, Haley has a stronger showing than anticipated in Iowa. Then the media will get what it wants, at least for New Hampshire, in portraying it as a legitimate race. G. Elliott Morris, who was a guest on the program here of mine on POTUS, will be with me on CNN tomorrow talking about his analysis of every presidential candidate from 1980 forward and whether they're standing in December before the election year was a predictor of who wins the nomination. And the answer is yes, with very rare exception. And nobody has been in as commanding a position as Trump since George Herbert Walker Bush. And that was actually in 92. So Trump is in a strong position. All right, loving today's poll question. Here it is. Will Hunter Biden going on offense make him a more sympathetic figure? The idea here being that he has good counsel in Abby Lowell in D.C. He's got Kevin Morris, a Delco guy who is not only an attorney, but a Hollywood sort of A-lister, power broker. There is a different campaign now publicly being asserted on behalf of Hunter Biden. And I'm wondering if it's going to cause people to think of him differently than just the images caught on that laptop. Now, here's what I find remarkable. The poll question is, will Hunter Biden going on offense make him a more sympathetic figure? When only 143 had voted, it was 51-49. It was 51-49. When 758 had voted, the 51 had grown to 56. And what I want to know is when more than 20,000 vote, because we'll get there, what happens to that margin? Does it grow? Does it shrink? Did the first 143 in the door speak for the rest or not? Your thoughts?
I think that's very interesting. I think it's interesting when you track it for the first few and then the first few thousand, et cetera. I think I'm going to be in the minority on this one, and I won't say anything else. That's all I will say. The minority. The
minority in terms of whether it's going to make him more sympathetic?
Yes. I think you are on one side and I'm on the other side, which is interesting to me.
Oh my. Well, I'm not, just so I'm clear, I'm not saying like there's going to be this groundswell of Hunter's support, but I think it's going to change many people's perception of him. That's what I think, depending on how it all plays out.
But when we were watching live him going into the committee meeting, you thought that was sort of an appropriate thing, and I thought it was completely inappropriate. And I think that's sort of where the breakdown is.
So how about this, in sticking with the political data, the Trump town hall. I am so fascinated with this. You know that Trump on Fox counter-programmed DeSantis and Haley on CNN. So what were the numbers? We've got the numbers. They're published at Smerconish.com today. Fox's town hall with Trump averaged 4.3 million viewers from 9 to 10 because his was 1 hour long. CNN had 2.5 million in the same time period with the Haley-DeSantis debate. Trump, 4.3 million. DeSantis and Haley, 2.5. Now, you can slice and dice these numbers any which way. On one hand, you could say accurately that 2.5 million, that's more than double that of what CNN typically pulls in an hour of prime time. So from that perspective, good night for CNN. It was just more than 60% of the 4 million who watched the fourth debate on News Nation, which, by the way, had to have broken all records for News Nation. When you go back to the first two debates, they had 12 on Fox News and Fox Business. It was 12.8 million and 9 million. The third debate was 7 million on NBC. Fourth debate, 4 million on News Nation. Fifth debate, 2.5 million on CNN. So, a downward trajectory of the numbers. If you remember the CNN town hall with Trump, it gave CNN the single largest ratings night for the network in all of 2023. 3 million people watched. So let's just stop and think about this for a moment. The numbers declined as the debate season went on, but Trump continues to garner viewers. When CNN had that town hall, do you remember the controversy that surrounded that? That was on Chris Lick's watch. That was Caitlin Collins. I thought then, and I believe now, it was the right thing to do, to give him opportunity to face questioners on CNN. Many people said, they never should have done it. Trump is good for ratings, TC. I mean, that's it. And yes, still is.
I have many people. Yep. I have many people in my orbit as, I've been pretty vocal in the last few weeks, months saying, I think Trump is going to be the nominee. I think Trump will be our next president. And when I say that, there are many people in my orbit who will say, well, that's good for business. Well, that's, meaning good for SiriusXM, good for CNN, good for us to talk about. So good for business.
And I'm sure they also say to you, why are you for Trump? You didn't say you were for Trump. You're simply saying,
I know, my gosh.
Right.
Right. I am most decidedly not for Trump, but I absolutely think, I think he's a lock for the nomination. And then I also think he's going to win.
More headlines from the Friday edition of the newsletter. So two stories that'll bring you down and one story that'll bring you up. More teens who use marijuana are suffering from psychosis. This was originally the Wall Street Journal's reporting. Thousands of teenagers and young adults have developed delusions of paranoia after using cannabis. Legalization efforts have made cannabis more readily available in much of the country. More frequent use of marijuana is many times as potent as strains in common 3 decades ago. That's the takeaway. The takeaway is THC. Lab-created derivatives. Back in the day, weed was just weed. Weed was just skunk weed, right? And you knew it from the smell. Now it's a lot different. It's not your parents' weed. Be careful. Psychosis follows, given some of the strains that are out there. Similarly, also from the Wall Street Journal, originally, cancer is striking more young people. Doctors are alarmed and baffled. Cancer is hitting more young people in the U.S. and around the globe. Diagnosis rates in the U.S. rose in 2019 to 107.8 cases per 100,000. That's under 50, up 12.8% from 95.6 in 2000 per 100,000. Why? They don't know. Less physical activity, maybe. More processed foods, maybe. New toxins. RFK Jr. will love that, maybe. But it's happening as per the data. Cancer still strikes older people far more often than the young. The rise in early onset cancers threatens to stall progress. 1 in 5 new colorectal cancer patients in 2019 was under 55. So those are the two downers. Here's the uplifting story, and we actually have a connection to this. There's a viral video. People Magazine has it. We have it in the newsletter today. It begins this way, the story. One first-time flyer got a very special souvenir on a recent family vacation. On the way back to Newark International Airport from Cabo San Lucas, January 6, Kelly Levine on TikTok tells people she noticed her 5-month-old daughter, Romy, peering over at the woman sitting next to them, crocheting. She was just staring at her and amazed at how fast her hands were moving. The woman and Kelly exchanged a few looks. Eventually, the two began talking. She learned that her seatmate, Megan Rubin, recognized Kelly because they'd coincidentally been on the same flight on the way down to Mexico. When the plane landed, Kelly said, Rubin turned to her and simply said, "Okay, I'm done." Rubin handed her a yellow knit hat just big enough for Romy. I couldn't believe myself. She's so good, she said, and told her of the reasoning of the gift. Well, Megan, who did the crocheting, TC, is married to Alex, who is PJ's partner at Creative, our video production house. Yeah. So we have a connection. We have a connection to this story. As of when People Magazine reported on the story, they said that on TikTok, 6.8 million had viewed this. I think it's now over 10. Over 10 million people have viewed. Oh
my gosh.
So you get the image?
I saw this a couple days. I completely understand. I saw this a couple days ago. I watched the video, and it was just one of those things that warms your heart. And I say to myself, okay, all is not lost. Human nature. We talk about polarization all the time. Literally, all these things ran through my head. And I had no idea that's who that was. That's incredible. Good for her. What a wonderful story.
Going into the trip, Kelly explained she was nervous to fly with her daughter for the first time. She adds that she isn't a great flyer herself. Quote, "It's just nerve-wracking going into a flight. You don't know who you're going to be sitting next to, if they're going to be annoyed if the baby acts up, or if the baby starts to need me, or to get up and walk around on the plane. All those things run through your head. And so when you don't have any of that, but you have a woman who is so nice and out of the kindness of her heart, definitely put me and my husband's nerves to rest. It's also definitely let me be more open to traveling with my baby in the future." So there you go.
I love it. That's a fantastic story.
Yes, and one tied to Creative Outfit, as PJ is in studio with me.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Good job, PJ.
PJ, do you think she could crochet something for this noggin? You know I'm a hat guy.
Purple.
Yeah.
Purple.
In purple, right? In purple to match the walls, please. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, bottled water, TC. What's this all about?
Oh no. Okay, so, well, first of all, a very alarming story came out this week, a new study saying that bottled water, plastic bottles, think about, disposable plastic bottles, that there are these little tiny little itty bitty micro things in the plastic that then can get into your cells. So they're saying bottled water is even more dangerous than we thought it was. So that story came out this week, which does make me nervous. I mean, I'm sitting here with, my smart water. Oh dear. And then you have a great article this week that I immediately forwarded to my daughter because it's talking about what water bottles are the best and what they say about you. So Stanley and Hydro Flask and all of and Swells. I remember when Emma was in middle school, everybody wanted a Swell. Now Stanleys are definitely the new hit water bottle. But bottom line is, stop using the plastic water bottles. Get your own water bottle, refill it, and that's the way to go.
You're making me go back to Smirch Merch now and see what we have and what we've sold out of. I don't know. I know we still have diesel mugs. Diesel mugs, so you're protected there. And what is it like? The world is now divided among young people into Stanleys or Hydros.
So those are the two top ones, according to the piece at Smerconish.com. There are other ones as well, and they go in and out of favor. But yeah, the Stanleys, and especially there was just this huge run on pink Stanleys. Probably had to do with the Barbie movie. But yeah, they're very cool, and they're huge. These Stanleys are, you can get the jokes on Instagram are hysterical with everybody with these enormous water bottles. But yeah, the bottom line is ditch the plastic, go to get a water bottle, keep refilling it. That's the safest way to go.
I have not hawked my wares from Smerconish.com, merch recently. Okay, so I'm just taking a look. What do we have left? Because we want to introduce some new stuff in the spring. A couple of signed copies of Talk the Novel, a few Free Harry t-shirts. They might be in odd sizes, but roll with it. The Cyrillic Smerconish shirt, Frisbees, Balance Delivered Daily, a couple of purple tees, a dog toy, and the My Morning Fuel is Diesel coffee mug. So if you're inclined, go in that direction. Now, if buying my stuff is not your cup of tea at Smerconish.com, then perhaps you'll go to Christie's instead and take advantage of the upcoming Elton John ephemera memorabilia personality auction. I love this. I don't know if we've linked to Town and Country before in the Smerconish Daily newsletter, but we do today. Here's the way the story begins. Extravagance. It's all Elton John seems to know. Extravagant clothes, extravagant stage presence, extravagant way of being. This February, longtime admirers of the legendary singer may acquire a piece of that pomp as property from his former Atlanta home is heading for sale at Christie's. So apparently he's KonMari'd his Atlanta residence, and they're putting up a lot of stuff. Go ahead. Tell me what interests you.
Here are a couple things. So would you be interested in a pair of silver leather tall platform boots circa 1971? They are silver with a little red running stripe, and they have a big J on them.
Wouldn't you like to see me in those? What is...
Oh, wouldn't we all?
What is the size? Is it a 10.5? If it's a 10.5, I'm interested.
That's a great question. It actually does not say the size. Red leathers E and J on the side. The platforms with red and white stripes worn during numerous performances. They're scuffed during the 1970s.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute. They're battle tested and concert worn.
Oh yeah. Okay. And
What else?
They're going to run. Okay. Wait. How much would you pay for them?
For those boots? Well, what's the estimate of what these estimates are always off? But what does Christie say Elton John's concert boots are expected to go for?
$5,000 to $10,000.
Never.
You're not paying that much?
No, that's a $40,000 to $50,000 item.
Okay. So, how about this one? The $40,000 to $50,000 item would be Sir Elton John's Conservatory Grand Piano Model C6 FPE. This they think is going to go for $30,000 to $50,000.
$100K.
This was one of the has the logo tuning fork. This is amazing. Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
So Elton John's piano estimated at $30,000 to $50,000. From his Atlanta residence.
Correct. What do you think?
No, $100K for that. $100K for that.
Okay. How about an ivory and gold stage wardrobe ring designed in 1971, estimated between $8,000 and $12,000?
I'm not interested in that. I'd go to Steven Singer. One more.
How about a portrait of Elton John by Julian Schnabel that is signed and inscribed XXX for Elton and David, and is estimated to go for $200,000 to $300,000.
Really? Okay, I don't know. Did you say a portrait? So it's not a photograph; it's a portrait.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know the artist, so I can't comment on that. I don't know. I'm not interested in that. I think the boots are my favorite so far. So I'll be going and putting in my bid at Christie's, but it won't be for $30,000.
These boots are made for walking.
Yeah, so they say. Ladies and gentlemen, can we promote various projects? Tomorrow morning on CNN. I don't know. I have to monitor today the Houthi story and just see what becomes of it. Talked about it earlier on the program today, so I've got my eye on that. I also want to talk about the Iowa caucus. I loved, as I look back at the week that we've just had here, and different things that go well on radio often end up as part of the CNN program. I loved the conversation yesterday about scanners, police scanners, and the sort of tension between privacy and a public right to know. As I said yesterday, there used to be somebody in the neighborhood who had a police scanner, like one person. But now, because of apps, it's so easy for you to just dial in and listen to first responders communicating with one another all across the country. Like, pick your area and pick your police department and listen in. Is that a good or a bad development? I don't know, but I might get into that as well. So I'll see how the news cycle develops over the course of today. For sure, we're going to talk a lot of politics. I hope you'll watch me on CNN tomorrow. We'll do a YouTube Live at 7:30. That's a different time for Saturdays. Listen to TC After Dark, and we'll see you next week.